Excited to be here. Thank you for actually having me here.
Absolutely. It's a treat.
Freedom of speech is not only a valid option for expressing yourself, expressing your beliefs, but also having the liberty of representing what you have and what you have to offer other people.
What's so funny, because here we're moving into this era of finance where it's underpinned by, we'll call them new emerging payment rails.
Everything is reliant on the government at the end of the day. If a speech goes bad or if they address the nation in the wrong way, our stock is going to plummet. Definitely understand the journey you're in from your financial backing. Are you financially able to invest? Are you financially able to have that money grow in itself long term?
Hey, what's going on, family and friends? Here's a brief conversation that I had with a very bright young man. His name is Alberto Rodriguez. I had the privilege of meeting the 21-year-old savant at the recent OC Law Start conference in November. So this was before the elections, however, still very relevant. Alberto and I discussed free speech, cutting-edge blockchain technology, his investment thesis, and so much more. We shared many similar beliefs, as do many of you tuning in today, especially about the future of our financial system being replumbed for the benefit of a one world global financial system underpinned by institutional grade blockchain infrastructure. Here's the interview with Alberto Rodriguez. I'll be sure to tag his contact information in the description and comment section below. Thanks for tuning in. Love you mucho. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here in Fullerton, California at the Lost Art event. You can check us out at myweb3.me. That is the sponsor or today's host of the event. I want to say thank you to Ivan Cisternos and team for hosting a wonderful event. To my right is Albert. He is a stock and bonds trader, very smart and talented individual. I've asked Albert to join me so I can pick his brain on his thoughts on the direction of the market, where we're headed, his past experiences and qualifications, so better understand who Albert is and where we're going. Albert, thank you for joining me, sir.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Excited to be here. Thank you for actually having me here.
Absolutely. It's a treat. Yeah. Now, Albert, we've been having some interesting discussions, from the potential use case of crypto and these payment rails on a global political landscape to also just the use cases that are empowering today's event, from art and community and payments. What are your thoughts on digital assets, and understanding this event here is underpinned by the XRPL? What brings you here?
What brings me here is actually to understand more about the small business sector. I think it's a very deep landscape that we haven't explored fully. Just having digital assets have more of a bounce back on your investment. So you can invest nowadays your $1 million yacht, your house in like Beverly Hills, but it's going to depreciate its value over time. So I think all of these amazing assets you have digitally can be a political game changer.
Yeah. How big's your yacht, Albert?
Too big.
Let's talk about, you piqued my interest on the potential direction of this emerging asset class or sector, industry, technology, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it blockchain, we can call it crypto, digital assets, new and emerging payment rails. Where do you think this is all going, sir?
I think it's going in the right direction. There's many sort of avenues could be going to the wrong direction, meaning like government officials getting involved or having the company mimic what you're doing, but it's going to the right direction. It's building this foundation of trust with not only clients, but also companies. And it can only get better from this.
When you say getting potential government involvement, what do you mean by that?
Nowadays, you're very censored what you can say online and what your company can do and say. I see this on a political side where you're going to be censored down the line eventually by different agencies.
Look at you.
No, I want to be clear. I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them.
But you're abiding by the settlement, aren't you?
Because I respect the justice system.
And I just want that transparency to be available for not any company, but for the government as well. What are they looking into us for? What are those things they want to hear and what us as consumers to know about?
So do you think that our freedom of speech do we have a freedom of speech today?
See, that's a little difficult. With the current geopolitical ways and everything's going, we have freedom of speech, but we're going to lose that eventually if we don't stand up for our right, for freedom of speech.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
And I definitely see this as a potential game changer down the line, looking 5, 10 years from now, where are we going to stand on that point?
Yeah.
Where is our democracy?
What do you think the platforms like X, formerly known as Twitter, play in this arena or in this movement? Do they play in this movement at all?
Of course, yeah. Not only X, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, they all do censorships. A couple of years ago, there was that release of documentary, that transparency that happened with the election, and just being 4 or 5 days away from this major political landscape, it's definitely appealing for others.
I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left, you know.
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less.
I really didn't.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, you know, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome, and I didn't, you know, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people. So like I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies, okay? And they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong? Guys, like, you can't have like a normal conversation.
There's that transparency now with X, formerly known as Twitter. It's just going to go places where we don't know.
Yeah, I believe actually X runs against the grain. I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk is underscoring the fact that they aren't censoring or are encouraging this freedom of speech as they should, being that it's our right.
Yeah. Well, X is, I think, the one place where you can find out the truth.
Yes.
And
The only place.
yeah.
So how much pressure, to the extent you can say, has there been on you to shut it down or to censor it?
Well, I mean, apart from the multiple Democrats saying that I should go, they want to put me in jail, take away all government contracts from my companies, nationalize my companies, deport me as an illegal, and have me arrested because I'm apparently Putin's best friend. Nothing besides those things.
My thoughts specifically lie with the entrance of the people and what we want to do with our free time, our privately held companies. Freedom of speech is not only a valid option for expressing yourself, expressing your beliefs, but also having that liberty of representing what you have and what you have to offer other people.
Interesting. What are you hoping to achieve by being here today at the Lost Art event?
Yeah, I'm just looking to achieve higher education and understand the crypto landscape. As you mentioned, I am stocks and bond trader. This is definitely near what I'm doing and definitely want to learn more about it because there's still that discrepancy of what is true, what is not true with crypto.
What do you mean by that?
There's all those bad influences out there. Oh, you can do crypto like this. And it turns out to be like either a pyramid scheme or a scam. I think education would be a key resource for this kind of event. Just educating the community, educating people out there interested in crypto.
What are some signals to help one mitigate those types of pitfalls or risks?
Each and individual company has their own risks, especially for investors. I definitely think it's important to do your due diligence on a company, depending on how their stock is, how they're performing, how, so many options out there just to learn about before you actually invest.
So you're talking about the fundamentals.
Yeah, of course.
So which fundamentals do you take into consideration when evaluating a new potential investment opportunity?
So I like to see what they do and how to do it. Is it a company you want to invest in and transparent with them? Mm-hmm. Are they both going to benefit you down the line or benefit the company? Mm-hmm. If they're benefiting the company, you definitely want to understand what are they providing the consumers on how they're going to benefit. So you mentioned earlier crypto and investment. So Acorns, for example, they do a lot of like crypto and stock and bonds trading. They're transparent about their processes.
What's so funny, because here we're moving into this era of finance where it's underpinned by, we'll call them new emerging payment rails or algorithms, protocols, standards. Regardless, we're moving into a technology-enabled landscape in the future. With Acorns, for me, it was so interesting because the whole roundup feature is a protocol within itself. Yeah. And to see that they are already a player in the traditional landscape, being able to round up your everyday transactions to then to deploy that capital automatically into a stock or whatever the investment vehicle you choose. that's available now, Bitcoin, I believe. So it's interesting to see how they've now added some new even product features or investment vehicles onto the platform, since I was an investor back in 2012, 13 on Acorns.
Yeah, especially with your new add-on with the checkings and debit account with the Rock. It's definitely interesting because when it originally started, it was at that 5 to 6%. Nowadays, it's up to 4 and 3%.
As an investor in Acorns, which is a saving and investing app, I'm excited to be partnering with them to launch the first ever Mighty Oak debit card. While other cards are built for spending, ours helps your money grow with 2 of the highest APYs available. And whenever you get paid, you can automatically allocate pieces of your paycheck to your investment account, your retirement account, an investment account for your kids and babies, and your emergency fund.
Full transparency, I'm actually an investor in Acorns now because of my former employer, Link2. How much growth potential do you think is ahead for a company, a fintech company like Acorns?
There's definitely room to grow on that. But as an investor, you should already know your background and the companies you're trying to invest in. As an investor, you have a lot of the assets and publication that's not available to the public. So you guys definitely have that advantage over clients like us and what we invest in.
What do you mean by that?
It's the full disclosure with Acorns itself or any other robo investors. You guys understand the agenda and where the investment stock or bond is going to head towards and have that due diligence already ahead of time.
Yeah, it's a different demographic of investors, ones that may be engaging on Link2s versus the Acorns. But at the end of the day, they're both part of my tool shed, and I'm appreciative of both. Just it actually, to your point, it took me to know Acorns to get on my investment journey to where I'm at today. Everyone's investment journey is a little bit different too. But at the end of the day, to your point, is we have to do our due diligence. We got to do our research. We got to research the fundamentals. Who's on the leadership team? For me, I like to invest in the companies also that I'm a consumer of. And so this way I know their products, I trust their products. In a way I benefit on both sides of the coin by the products I love. And then as an investor, I can potentially participate on the growth trajectory of that particular company. Last thing, Alberto, where do you think that this technology is going in the next short term and long term?
Everything is reliant on the government at the end of the day. If a speech goes bad or if they address the nation in the wrong way, our stock is going to plummet. But you mentioned about the future of crypto and all this. I think it's going to go places. With AI already advancing in many industries, as like medical field and just the way they govern with AI, it has a lot of potential. But again, we did do our due diligence and see how it's going to affect us in the long term.
Alberto, it was a pleasure chatting with you today. You seem like you're a very smart chap. How old are you, sir?
I'm only 21.
No, wow! I'm impressed. You got a lot of runway ahead of you, sir. I'm jealous.
Of course, I just want to get ahead of my time, and I know there's other people out there that are more into investing, into all of this financial institutions, but I feel like just self-education on the way things are like worked around and the companies that do everything from robo investing to AI technology advancement, it's really important to understand where the trajectory is for the future of Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and all the other generations.
How much of actually, before I let you go, you inspired me on another question. How much of a role do you think a company like Google will play in this landscape for robo investing? Or a fintech company, or just a company that's providing AI resources that are tuned for the financial investment arena. How dependent do you think will become on those types of solutions?
I've definitely worked with a lot of AI companies with what I do, but I definitely think Google's going to be a big game changer. Not only does it have the established members, you have a Google account, I have a Google account, so they have all that data from us. Plus, adding like crypto or how we do things nowadays, they have all the information that can definitely be more beneficial for us understanding and learning crypto. But also, if you look at it, they have that big brother sort of thing where everything you do can be tracked through your Google account, which is good, but it has the potential of going the wrong way.
Yeah, for me, Google or the Alphabet company being a backer of a very disruptive company like Ripple Labs, and then with potential influence on a global landscape, I don't know. Do you think throughout all this sideways trading or this suppression, do you think it's almost like a vetting process for some of these companies as well, or individuals that are trying to establish themselves?
I believe so, yes. There's always competition with companies. And the way companies do business nowadays is very competitive. You have to be on your toes on what company you want to go towards. Definitely understand the journey you're in from your financial backing. Are you financially able to invest? Are you financially able to have that money grow in itself long term? So I definitely think it's very competitive. It's a very competitive industry.
For those in the audience who may be 21 years old or younger or around that age that are interested in learning more about this investment arena, digital assets, robo-investing, are there any resources that you would recommend to someone looking to engage?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what kind of company you're looking for and what sort of is your end goal, there's definitely resources out there to provide. I would definitely look into investing. There's this one guy on YouTube, I know his name. He's like an old guy, does all of this. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. Oh, this is bad. Don't invest that now. So I definitely invite you, everyone, to understand their own industry and the financial situation they're in.
What I heard is you're leveraging you seek your information or guidance or data from new and emerging solutions like even YouTube, or you're not getting your information from the television is what you're saying.
No, that's the very traditional old way of doing it, doing business. And yeah, just like people like Dave Ramsey, for example.
And that was great. That's why we became so successful.
You think,
it's funny.
You think we can do that again?
Yeah, I think we can go lower. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm bringing it from 21 to 15, but you have to manufacture your product here. And then you pay 15%. And then I'm going to put tariffs on countries so they can't come in and steal our business.
You really want to not just rely on one, like a publication outlet like LA Times, all of the traditional routes, but update yourself on what's going around you locally in your local government and also the companies in your area.
Interesting. Albert, it's been a pleasure just diving into that big old noggin of yours. And being only 21, I'm impressed, sir. I appreciate you. Hopefully I see you at the top and you enjoy yourself at the Lost Art conference here in Fullerton.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.